the serenity of the Pokémon Day Care, where the miracle of life is almost routine, when interacting with our Pokémon, we can see how they get along with each other and the possibility that they might have offspring. But among these messages, on rare occasions, we are given one more, so strange that it always intrigued me. It's brimming with energy. When these words appear, no matter how compatible the two Pokémon are and how, in theory, they should be able to breed, they will never produce an egg. The first time I encountered this message as a child, I felt as if the daycare itself were telling me that there was something special there, something unique that should not be altered. Two Pokémon, both perfect in their own way, and then nothing but overflowing energy. Over time, through investigation, it became clear to me why this strange mechanic exists. It turns out that when shiny Pokémon were introduced in the second generation, whether or not a Pokémon had this condition was written into its IVs, turning these values into something that not only determines a creature's strength or speed, but also gateways to rarity. When an egg is produced, the offspring partially inherits the IVs of its parents, which means that only in this generation, when one of the parents is shiny, the chances of obtaining a shiny offspring increase. Wonderful exception in a system that is usually cruel to players searching for that special spark. Because of this, only in Gold, Silver, and Crystal did they decide that two shiny Pokémon cannot produce an egg together, since that would make the mechanic far too exploitable for those who discovered it, greatly devaluing the essence of these very special Pokémon. That is when the message appears. It's brimming with energy. But what is most curious is that, as a side effect of how this entire system works, two Pokémon that are not shiny but do share certain IVs also cannot breed. Once again, the same message appears. It's brimming with energy. It is a rather mysterious choice of words in itself. They could have simply used the generic message saying that the Pokémon show no interest in each other. However, they chose to dedicate a unique and enigmatic phrase to this rare case. What do they mean by energy? Do shinies possess some special energy within their being that sets them apart from the rest? Is the glow with which these Pokémon shine made of fragments of a soul that radiates pure, almost divine energy? Something magical that should not be easily replicated. And the daycare, with its wise elderly caretaker who guards the secrets of nature, acts to preserve all of that. Because in a way, the glow of mystery is what keeps the Pokémon world so magical. One of the greatest mysteries of the third generation is, as its name suggests, the Enigma Berry. Despite all the time that has passed and the efforts made to study the inner workings of these cartridges, its true nature is still not fully understood today. This is not like other berries, something you can simply pick up in nature, or a slightly more unusual fruit that grows in an unknown region and can only be obtained from mysterious characters. The Enigma Berry is an anomaly, a forbidden fruit that, in the original Ruby and Sapphire, should not exist. The theory is simple. We have talked countless times about the e-reader, a strange Game Boy Advance accessory that never reached most countries, and that, in the case of Pokémon, allowed players to unlock bizarre events that today verge on lost media. One of its functions was receiving certain extravagant berries which do not grow anywhere and cannot be unlocked in any other way. Most of them did not even have an interesting function beyond making Pokeblocks. But the greatest mystery is that when something went wrong and the corresponding berry card was not scanned correctly, the Enigma Berry would appear instead. In other words, this fruit is actually a placeholder that under normal conditions, no player should ever even see. From the 4th generation onward, this item became much more normalized, since all 3rd generation exclusive berries transferred to later generations where they did not exist or were not programmed, would turn into this item, which was reused as a normal one with an assigned effect. But in its original third generation context, this was not the case. It was a forbidden fruit that no one was meant to see. This way, it is quite close to the idea of missing no, except that instead of occupying the empty slot left by a Pokémon, it did so with a berry. Even its monochrome design, shaped like question marks, is very similar in this third generation. A loophole that was patched in the Western versions, but that in the Japanese version allowed this fruity anomaly to be obtained legally. Pokémon holding these e-reader berries to be deposited directly into Ruby and Sapphire storage boxes. If the receiving game has never properly scanned an Enigma Berry card to overwrite the programming and obtain those berries, an Enigma Berry will appear instead. Another intriguing case of mysterious items takes place in the Seavey Islands, specifically in the ruins of Seven Island, where buried in the sand we can find several heart scales. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, games where the move reminder asks for mushrooms instead, these would be completely useless. This case is especially curious because in this generation, some hidden items are variable. That is, they do not always appear, and when collected, they can respawn. This could be explained by berries growing back, or by beach treasure items being washed ashore, as one NPC explains. But what causes heart scales to spawn in such a remote place, where there are certainly no wild Lubdis that could be carrying them? The attention of this area is drawn to the famous Sevi ruins, home of the unknown, when the door to their dimension opens. Could it be that some local researcher habitually left these items there while investigating the ruins? In Pokémon video games, there are many challenges that, if you are someone who enjoys grinding, can consume your time for days. Endless hours that sometimes turn into a true exercise in patience. But among all the trials Pokémon offers, there is one very unknown challenge whose secrets require a great deal of perseverance to unravel. The Battle Hall. Many of you may have heard of this building in the 4th generation Battle Frontier and its particular 1 versus 1 battle mechanic. But I am not talking about simply obtaining its silver and gold symbols. This facility hides a great secret challenge, so hidden that it was only discovered a few months ago, when people began digging through the game's text files. The Battle Hall is one of the most peculiar buildings in the Frontier, because far from the path the series has followed for years, building a balanced team that can respond to everything. It is based on battling with a single Pokémon. Once you choose your Pokémon, you face consecutive opponents, each one focused on a specific elemental type. The goal is to achieve the longest possible winning streak in these one-on-one battles. But the most incredible and truly unknown aspect of this building lies in this part of the lobby. It turns out there is a hidden admirer mechanic where you gain fans as you reach certain records. These fans interact with the player, encouraging them based on their achievements. This includes minor NPCs, but also famous characters who can eventually appear to cheer you on, such as Professor Oak, Bianca, or Jasmine, once you reach the staggering milestone of 10,000 consecutive victories. What seemed to be just a random part of a building with nothing special ends up becoming a kind of elite fan club, and one of the most time-consuming challenges in the entire series. But in fact, there is something even bigger in this building that we are overlooking. Because those 2 NPCs we usually pass by, who seem like filler characters through whom you unlock the important fans, actually hide an even greater challenge behind them. one of the most outrageous feats in the history of the franchise in terms of time investment. Depending on whether the player character is male or female, when we complete the facility for the first time, Serena or Winston will appear. Like the others, they simply cheer us on and say they like our style. But it turns out that these two are fanatics of trainers who have mastered different Pokémon species, and therefore, their appearances do not depend on the number of consecutive battles won, but on the number of different Pokémon with which we manage to set a record. But how far does this go? With how many different Pokémon do we have to complete this challenge for their admiration to reach its peak? Brace yourself, because these characters will appear and give us different lines of dialogue when you set a new record with 475 different Pokémon species. In other words, to see everything these kids have to say, we must complete at least one round of this facility with every Pokémon in the Pokédex, excluding banned, legendary, and mythical Pokémon. This includes Pokémon like Magikarp or Caterpie, with which you must also win at least one full round using only that Pokémon. And that is not all, because not only do their dialogues change, but they become more and more fanatical about us. This is one of the very few cases in the series where a certain romantic interest toward the protagonist is hinted at, and by a twist of fate, the girl happened to be named Serena. As an extra detail, every time we complete one of these stages, the NPC sprite moves closer and closer to the battle area. This gesture of closeness is such a small detail, yet so meaningful, as if they were showing that you are not just another name on a list of victories. There is a hidden beauty in these characters, who at first seem to be mere decorations in the Battle Hall lobby and end up becoming true companions on the journey. They are there to share your victories, to congratulate you, to make you feel that you are not alone in the routine, as if every step of your adventure were also part of theirs. It is magical and surreal at the same time, how these games, with so many years behind them, and hundreds of thousands of players investigating every tiny detail, continue to bring new discoveries to light that no one had heard about until today. And up to here goes this installment of Pokémon Curiosities, where, as always, I hope at least one of them has surprised you, just as we have been doing around here for more than a decade. In 2026, incredible projects are coming, so to support everything that is on the way, follow me on social media. And if you are left wanting more, take a look at other Pokémon Curiosity and secret videos on the channel, like the one you see on screen. Be good.